Hey everybody, it's your boy Cat the Hunter coming at you again. Thank you so much for checking out this video. We're going to jump right into it. Here's another example, case of police officers acting badly, right? Just not following the rules, the regulations, honoring their oath of office, just all kind of crazy stuff. Now, some of this I just started to see as I did a previous video about the Charlotte Mecklenburg officer. Check out that video. But as I was about to log off, there was some other stories that popped up. So I've not watched these. So let's get into the first one. As we can see here, it's a former police chief of Chattanooga, I think. Let me make sure this is not old. Yeah, this is 1 day ago. Okay. Celeste Murphy indicted and facing criminal charges. Let's check out this story.
Former Chattanooga Police Chief Celeste Murphy has now been indicted and booked into the Hamilton County Jail on 17 felony and misdemeanor charges. This comes the day after she handed in a resignation to Chattanooga Mayor Tim Kelly. News 12's Nick Hill has been looking into those charges and some information that he's dug up. What'd you find, Nick?
Celeste Murphy once came into Chattanooga with hopes of improving the Chattanooga Police Department. However, today she walked into the Hamilton County Jail as a police chief no longer, facing 17 charges.
We will be the model that sets the standard for other cities in having a robust police-community relationship.
Despite her opening statements from 2022, TBI investigators allege Murphy falsified her information to apply for a Tennessee driver's license and voter registration, among.
So she obviously got the job. She got the job, and then in order to move to the state, and part of the parameters of being a police officer, particularly if you're from another state, is you have to immerse yourself in the community, get a driver's license, apply for voter registration, move there, obviously live there, all these different parameters. So in her doing that, why would you falsify the information? What would make you do that? Oh my God, man. 2 years, she couldn't even last 2 years.
Here's a list of the charges she was indicted on. These include 3 counts of forgery, 3 counts of perjury, 3 counts of false entries into governmental records, a false entry on an election document and illegal voter registration, and 6 counts of official misconduct. A Hamilton County grand jury indicted Murphy on all of these charges following the TBI's investigation into her residency. They say it was at the request of D. Michael Donovan, the District Attorney General pro tem in this case, after Hamilton County District Attorney General Cody Watt recused herself. It is unclear how the TBI was tipped off in the first place. We looked into Murphy's residency information and found that she is listed as a homeowner in Atlanta according to Fulton County property records in Georgia. We have blurred out the address, but on multiple documents on the Fulton County Property Records website, she is listed as having purchased a home in September 2020 for $380,000 and is still listed as being one of 2 primary homeowners. Property tax logs show that taxes were still paid on the home. Meanwhile, a look at Hamilton County property record shows that she is not listed as a homeowner in Chattanooga. In terms of reactions, the Chattanooga Police Department and Mayor Tim Kelly have not spoken Thursday on the indictment, having spoken about her resignation on Wednesday. Meanwhile, Hamilton County Mayor Weston Watt said in a social media post that, in part, quote, "Today is a sad day for our community. Those of us who have been entrusted to serve the public have a responsibility to keep that trust. The Chattanooga Police Department is a revered law enforcement agency, and I am confident will thrive again under new leadership," end quote. Additionally, the Fraternal Order of Police, a police union, stated in part, quote, "It is a disappointing day for law enforcement when an officer or chief is indicted for acting outside of the law and tarnishes the badge we all proudly wear," end quote. Murphy did bail herself out this morning after being booked into the Hamilton County Jail. She is due in court in Hamilton County next month on these charges. Reporting live, Nick Hill, News 12.
That is absolutely wild. That is absolutely wild. That is absolutely wild. I can't believe she didn't want to give up her former residence. She didn't want to give up her residence, and
We will be the for all.
It's a good face to leave her on. She didn't want to give up her residence. She didn't want to. Listen, you can't speak words. The Fraternal Order of Police summed it up. She embarrassed herself in the badge and forged it. Why not just move there? Okay, you don't want to pay 2 residencies. Get some 1-bedroom condo or something. Get something small that you can afford. I don't know why. This is really, really terrible. Let's go on to the next story here. Let's go on to the next story here. Again, I haven't watched any of these. I'm learning about these for the first time. This police officer was fired 2 weeks after being sworn in. What did this guy do? 2 weeks. She couldn't make it 2 years. This guy couldn't make it. A new officer couldn't make it 2 weeks.
Action News 5 uncovered another case of a Mid-South police officer who left one police department in disgrace only to get hired at another local police agency. Good evening. I'm Joe Burke.
And I'm Joy Redmond. Tonight, that officer is out of 2 jobs and is now banned from being a law enforcement officer in all of Tennessee. Action News 5's Joyce Peterson live now in studio with details.
What's going on in Tennessee?
Joe and Joy, Collierville police proudly posted a picture of Officer DeMario Pree when he graduated from the academy in 2022. 2 weeks ago, the Olive Branch Police Department proudly posted a picture of Officer Pree when he joined OBPD. Tonight, DeMario Pree doesn't work for either agency anymore, and he will never be a police officer in Tennessee again. Here's former Collierville police officer DeMario Pree standing next to Collierville Police Chief Dale Lane at Pree's graduation from the Police Academy, November 2022.
Welcome everybody to the Tennessee Post-Commission informal hearing.
And here is Thursday's Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission hearing in Nashville, where Pree was decertified. The only reason cited, he resigned with disciplinary actions pending. Collierville police won't say what happened, but Action News 5 confirmed Pree left CPD in the spring and resurfaced at the Olive Branch, Mississippi Police Department. Here's Pree 2 weeks ago, being welcomed to OBPD by Mayor Ken Adams. After Thursday's post-hearing,
DeMario Pree, Collierville. Mario Pree,
which Pree did not attend, Olive Branch Mayor Ken Adams and Police Chief Bill Cox released the following statement. Effective immediately, DeMario Pree is no longer employed by the Olive Branch Police Department. Personnel matters are not discussed by the Olive Branch Police Department nor the City of Olive Branch. Pree's absence at the post-hearing was never explained, though he was well aware it was taking place.
He was originally set last month, and he said he had a family, watching a family member that was sick. Wanted to this month, and he knew about today. I contacted him a couple of days ago, and he's not present at the moment.
The commission even moved his hearing from second on the agenda down to the very bottom to give him more time to appear, but he was a no-show. Despite that,
all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
The post-commission voted to decertify Pree. And Tennessee's Post-Commission will notify the state of Mississippi about DeMario Pree's decertification. It is, however, unclear tonight how or if that will impact his ability to get another law enforcement job in Mississippi. Live in studio tonight.
So this is why a lot of police departments or a lot of people are, there's a term for it, I forget the term, but they want to stop that, where you can resign from one police department while under investigation in particular, and then go to another police department and then get a job. And so I'm definitely in favor of that. This guy went from Tennessee to Mississippi and got a job, and somehow they're not discussing it. Maybe somebody in the comments knows. The public has a right to know what did this guy do to make the entire state want to. Yeah, I think they should know. It should be illegal for a tax-funded entity to be able to say nothing. Yeah. Well, they don't want to say anything because they don't want to diminish his ability to get whether it's another type of police employment or to get employment somewhere else, right? So, just think about your own job. I'm not saying whether this is right or wrong. I definitely think that it would be difficult to put out his information or anyone's information and then not have that held against them in a future job offer. For example, think about your own job. If you work at a bank or something, right? And let's just say you resign under, you've been caught doing something malfeasant, and then some type of malfeasance, and then you are to resign, and then you want to go somewhere else and get a job. You don't have to put down that you resigned, or you don't have to put down your reason for leaving, just that you left and that you resigned. Okay, it wasn't working out. But if you get fired, then that's a totally different thing. And I get it that this is different. This is taxpayers and all that. So he shouldn't be able to get a taxpayer, particularly police job. But I'm no union lawyer or employment lawyer or anything. So, but yes. And let me highlight this. How desperate are police departments these days? They're very desperate. They are very desperate. People don't want to become police officers. People aren't joining the military. They don't want to do the job. Because of this, because they don't feel as if the public has their back. They don't feel as if that they feel that they always are targeted. If they don't want to become the newest YouTube sensation. I think if you want better police officers, we have to cut back on that type of thing and not allow these, put stories out like this once they've been fired and gone through a process. But these people just taping, YouTubing people on the side of the road and taping motor vehicle stops. I think that just hurt law enforcement. And if we want to answer this problem and solve this problem about how desperate police departments are, then we got to do something about that. And I'm not saying that police officers shouldn't wear body cams, and I'm not saying that people shouldn't be allowed to film the police. But I'm saying that there's a trade-off to that. And if you want better police officers, you want more respectable, honorable persons to take the job, whether they're chiefs of police or whether they're new employees, you want to stop this type of stuff. There's a trade-off to it. So that's a real conversation that people need to have. It's a real conversation that people need to have. It's a real conversation that people need to have when we're talking about this. This should all be public record. That needs to change. It's still a revolving door for bad cops everywhere. Once you get fired from one police department, you should never be an officer ever again. So in the state of Connecticut, where I live, it's definitely like that. So you can't, if you resign while under investigation, you cannot be a police officer. You will automatically, well, I'm sure there's a hearing and all that, but you are going to be decertified. Let's go on to the next story here. Do I want to watch this one? Or there was a former, no, I don't want to watch that one. Officer fired from multiple DWIs. There's a story I'm reading here. It says officer fired from multiple DWIs. You can see it right there. All right, this guy, multiple DWIs. Only problem with that is that there were multiple. I mean, you got to get rid of people like that immediately, if not sooner. Let's check out. Where's Chapman? Let's check out this Fort Lauderdale racist behavior. Let's check out this. Let's check this one out.
New at 6, a Fort Lauderdale police officer facing backlash after an internal investigation revealed serious allegations against him, including the use of racial slurs. Calls to strip him of his badge are growing louder.
And tonight, the Fort Lauderdale police chief is agreeing. CBS News Miami's Yvonne Taylor is live in Fort Lauderdale with a reaction, including what the officer's attorney is saying about all this. Yvonne?
That's right, and this incident sparked an internal investigation. Elliot and Lauren, the whole incident, according to the document, happened in the parking lot of this establishment. It's a bar in Fort Lauderdale. Now, Officer John Giga, who has been in the force for 16 years, faces serious allegations, and the NAACP is saying today, why is he not fired?
This is not a normal fist fight. It is 3 men fighting with police officer John Giga in the parking lot of a bar in Fort Lauderdale.
There were actions that led up to that moment.
4 o'clock in the morning, he's out there swearing. He's out there using the N-word profusely.
According to Broward Public Defender, the officer used racial slurs against these men before it all escalated to a fight.
This was Thanksgiving last year.
Friday morning, the NAACP held a news conference showing the surveillance video and officer's body cam from the incident 7 months ago.
The NAACP is not anti-police. We are anti-racist police.
This is not the type of law enforcement officer we should have in our community.
He called 911 because I think he got into a fight with someone.
Police officers were called to the scene that early morning on November of 2023, not knowing they would find one of their own, Officer John Giga.
He said he was there breaking up a fight.
According to a 385-page document from Internal Affairs, Officer Giga finished his shift, parked his marked vehicle, he changed his clothes and never turned off the vehicle. He entered the bar and apparently started drinking.
And then, while he's doing all that, he's having a very prolonged and protracted conversation via text message with a friend of his. He goes to her place of employment. He shows up at the bar. He finds his way into the bar after it's closed, and you can see the videos being played on loop where this young lady hears him at the door and crouches down to hide and secrete herself so she is not seen in that bar.
Giga leaves the bar. Police say he was irate and apparently drunk too.
He decides to jump out in the parking lot and approach 4 black males that he didn't know. You can see on the tape, they got in their cars and they were leaving, and he's following the cars and smashing, the windows, hitting the windows of the car.
Officer Giga's attorney has issued a statement saying, for Lauderdale Police, John Giga.
Hold on, I want to read this thing out the cutout here. Fort Lauderdale police officer John Giga, a 4-time deployed Marine Corps veteran, was the victim of a heinous and brutal aggravated battery by multiple assailants. Officer Giga's attackers left him in an empty parking lot to potentially die and left him with a permanent facial disfigurement. Despite his serious injuries, John has demonstrated resilience and remains committed to returning to his police officer duties. John also wants his attackers prosecuted to the full extent of the law. To date, the only person placed under any resemblance of an investigation has been John. We encourage the media and the public to refrain from making any judgment of John until all the facts have been thoroughly fleshed out. John and I look forward to a fair criminal investigation and prosecution into his disturbing beating. John is without question a victim of violent crime. Furthermore, John is hoping to get a fair opportunity to address the alleged administrative violations before the city manager, or if necessary, an independent fact finder. Is it common practice to take your marked police car to bars after duty, just driving around in the city like that? I can't imagine that. Fort Lauderdale's a big city. How can you allow your police officers just to take their marked vehicles home and drive the bars? And he should be placed under investigation for his actions after duty, post duty. He should be under investigation. God, dog. I want to look at this story, see if there's anything else. I want to see the full body cam release. The Miami Herald is sometimes funny. Sometimes they don't like to show all their stuff. They don't let you do all their stuff. I'm not going to watch the video. I want to read through this because I definitely want to. A Fort Lauderdale officer may face termination and allegedly yelled racist termination to fight a group of black men outside a club. May 9th, recommended officer for violating several department policies according to internal documents. You can't get these internal documents, but they should be. I'd like to read a summary. Giga, hired as an officer in 2008, has passed allegations of violent misconduct, and the recommendation comes after a months-long internal investigation probe beginning in December into an aggravated assault involving Giga in the early morning of November 24th. When the investigation started, Giga was placed on admin leave with pay and will remain on it until officials make a decision on his firing. Evidence found that Giga violated 4 department policies: conduct unbecoming conduct, neglect of duty, and 2 guidelines regarding authorized use of patrol car. Yeah, that can't be allowable. Even if you allow him to take it home, he's got to go home and park it, right? To and from work. I don't want it. Fort Lauderdale Police Department referred for a request for comment to city manager. Acting city manager Susan Grant said in a statement Thursday night, the chief of police issued a recommendation of termination for John Giga following an internal affairs investigation. The city manager was reviewing the findings in the chief's recommendation and will continue to follow an established disciplinary appeal process. After working an afternoon shift for Thanksgiving, documents show Giga drove his patrol car to Hunter's Beach in Fort Lauderdale. Surveillance showed him spending 4 hours inside and nearby. He took 5 shots of alcohol, toasting with patrons. After around 2:40 a.m., he drove home before leaving again for an hour later. He drove his patrol car around Fort Lauderdale before heading to Capstone's nightclub. Later in the investigation, detectives discovered he was sending dozens of texts at night to a friend who works at the club. Her phone was dead then, but when she finally saw the messages, she described his tone as upset. About to show up and F everyone up, Giga texted before he arrived at Capone's. Giga walked into the club for less than 5 minutes, the document said. The woman said she saw him, was surprised, and hid in an ice room. She overheard him and describing his sound as angry. A surveillance video showed him exiting the club's parking lot and getting into a verbal fight with a group of black men. Witnesses in the group told investigators, Witnesses and the group told investigators Giga shouted the N-word toward them, documents said. One witness who is not part of the group, I would assume, said Giga repeated the N-word 3 or 4 times, went on to say he thought Giga escalated the situation. He goes in the club, comes out a little bit like he's on something, because a lot of people don't go around punching parked car windows or calling somebody an N-word to their face, the witnesses told investigators. There's plenty of blacks out there, but he went out for one person. After the men got into their cars and drove off, Giga punched one of the windows and walked alongside it. The driver got out, prompting Giga to approach him and take a fighting stance. The driver punched him in the face. A passenger in that car and another driver tried to subsequently join and pummel Giga for about 20 seconds. I'm trying to tell you, there wasn't a fight, the witness says. It was literally a beating. The passenger found Giga unresponsive. A passerby found Giga unresponsive and badly injured after the night. After answering the questions at the scene, he was taken to Broward Health Medicals. In the months following the incident, Internal Affairs and Criminal Investigation detectives interviewed several witnesses and officers, including Giga, to piece together what transpired. They uncovered inconsistencies and possible breaches of policy. Fort Lauderdale police officer Jeremy Oberstein said was the first cop to arrive and received the emergency call as an aggravated battery, in which Giga was the victim, according to the documents. Giga told Oberstein that he was trying to break up a fight in the parking lot when he was hit by an unknown person with an unknown object. He told another arriving at the scene that he was attacked by a man possibly armed with a bottle. Witnesses and the men involved in the alleged assault later detailed to investigators that Giga was not breaking up a fight, nor was he randomly attacked with an object, documents read. Surveillance video corroborated their statements. Witnesses and the involved men in the alleged assault later detailed to investigators that he was not bringing up a fight, nor randomly attacked with an object, the document said. Man. Video obtained by the Herald shows Giga seemingly knocked unconscious in the first punch. Then after that he falls, the 3 men punch, kick, and stomp him in the head and the upper body. Oberstein said Giga never identified himself as a policeman. But Dejos discovered he was an officer asking Giga for Giga's wallet ID and learning it was inside his patrol car. While discussing the case, Oberstein and Dejos turned off their body cameras and kept them off once they realized Giga was a cop. Detectives questioned this possible breach of policy, to which Oberstein replied he forgot to turn it back on. That they ought to be suspended for that. 30 days. 30 days. As police continue investigating on the day of the fight, detectives were told there were continual discussions about whether Giga was on or off duty and whether his account of breaking up a fight was true. Major Stephen Skelfo ultimately decided that Giga was the victim of an aggravated battery while on duty until further information was found, documents read. He directed another officer to submit a report with that narrative, even though he's in plain clothes. This is the problem. Supervision. Here's a major saying, he was on duty. What time did he get off of duty? He was drinking on duty? Skelfo told detectives he didn't talk to Giga or others involved in the fight before making the decision. He was only informed by the details given to him by other officers. No way they told you that. No way. No way that's believable. On March 8th, Giga was interviewed by Internal Affairs, who said his statement had several inconsistencies. He prefaced the talk by advising he suffered from severe injuries and didn't have 100% recollection of what transpired that night. Good advice from the lawyer to come up with that story. Detectives said he gave inconsistent statements on what he was doing while on duty that day, the condition of his patrol car, and that he did not drink any alcohol when he got off work, documents read. When shown videos of the bartender serving him drinks, don't you realize, he's a police officer. Don't you realize that there's videos everywhere at the banks? There's cameras at stores, cameras in people's apartments and their homes and outside, and Ring doorbell cameras. You don't think they're inside the bar? When video shows of a bartender serving him drinks, Giga questioned whether detectives knew of alcohol and then continued to state he didn't remember. He alluded that he may have been drinking Red Bulls, but detectives did not see any signs of that in the surveillance video. Moving on to the fight, detectives showed him surveillance footage of what occurred to jog his memory. Giga contended that he could not remember what happened that night. However, he said that it seems from the video that he talked to people whom he noted as very nice and had a non-antagonizing conversation over a moving car. He continued to say it looked like somebody else had a problem with him talking with a group of very nice people. Very nice. Detectives, you probably can't see all this. Detectives noted that was an inconsistent statement made by several witnesses. When asked if he was calling a group of black men the N-word, Giga replied, "That's not even my vocabulary. I don't use that. My girlfriend is black. Oh, it's always my best friend and my girlfriend. My nephew are black. My brothers are all black. That's not part of who I am." He might have been saying the N-word, the G-A. He might have been saying that. All these black folks around him. The fight is not the only instance in which Giga had been accused of violent behavior. In 2013, Fort Lauderdale city worker Henry Lambert sued him for using excessive force and violating his rights the year before, court records show. Well, that's not unusual. A lot of cops get sued for excessive force. People don't always win and all that, but Lambert and Joe Shanks were doing bulk trash pickup for the city when they encountered Giga and Officer Joseph Curtis. The pair noticed two unoccupied Fort Lauderdale police cars when they parked their work truck nearby to finish loading trash. While outside the truck, Giga and Curtis were making their way toward them from an apartment building, the lawsuit read. Giga allegedly began yelling at Lambert in a hostile and aggressive manner to move the work truck so Curtis could move his patrol car. Yeah, some people, man, they just allow, if any of this is true, obviously, they just allow the power to go to their heads. They really do. As he continued to yell, Lambert said he would be reporting his behavior to Giga's supervisor. Lambert and Shanks moved their truck a bit further up the street, where Lambert got out to write down Giga and Curtis's patrol car numbers. Soon after Giga and Curtis aggressively approached Lambert, the lawsuit read. Giga yelled, "Are you going to call my supervisor?" Curtis added, "I will call him for you now." As Lambert backed away toward the work truck, Giga yelled, "No, you're not. You're not going anywhere." He grabbed Lambert's right arm. Curtis snatched his left and back of the neck. The two officers slammed him onto the hood of Giga's car. After being put in the rear of the patrol car, a Fort Lauderdale police sergeant arrived, according to the lawsuit. While Giga and Curtis explained what happened, the sergeant seemed frustrated and shook his head. Lambert was eventually let go, and the sergeant told him he was not surprised by Officer Giga's. Wow. He went on to say he was insubordinate to higher-ranking officers. The case was settled. Wow. This guy's got issues, man. Which one is this guy's got issues? No, that's not her. Yeah, this one. All right, let's listen to the rest of this story. This guy's got issues, man.
And saying Fort Lauderdale police, John Giga was the victim of a heinous and brutal aggravated battery by multiple assailants. Despite his serious injuries, John has demonstrated his resilience and remains committed to returning to his police officer duties.
For a man that's been suspended 4 times, reprimanded 6 times, I think his time has come. This is not going to be something that's going to be swept under the rug.
Kudos to that woman if her hair is real. Kudos to that. That's a nice looking fro. I hope that it is real. I hope that it is. It looks like well cared for and all that. So kudos to her.
Internal investigation document also shows that Officer Giga stated that he is not racist because his girlfriend is black. Now, as far as him getting terminated, it is the city manager, the one who can make that decision. We are live in Fort Lauderdale. Ivan Taylor, CBS News, Miami.
All right, so we're going to leave it off there. Let me know your thoughts or opinions about these officers. To answer the question, that's a good question. Are police departments really thirsty, hungry, going through a problem with hiring? Absolutely. So there's a trade-off. We want more transparency. We all agree with that. We want that. But the other side of that is that when it goes too far, then people don't want to join it. It's a good paying job, can make you go through your career, pay for my education, pay for me to put my kids, pay for a little bit of their education. Was able to give them a better life than I had growing up, put them in a house, and all that. So it can do all that, but but this is what happens when good, upstanding, morally sound, and ethical people refuse to take and don the badge. So let me know your thoughts and your opinions. Much love and peace.